Hello friends, family and other creatures of the sea, and welcome back to another high-level game of StarCraft 2. And today we have, whoa, Maxpax versus Clem. Unbelievable, Harstem. Where did you manage to pull this replay from? I pulled it straight out of my replay folder that I have, that I downloaded from Wardy's replay pack. So shout out to him. And shout out to you guys for watching again, as we're here on 10,000 feet. 2 minutes and 20 seconds into the game, as we have a Reaper opener coming out of Clem. And look at this, an Adept out of the young Dane. It's not as young anymore as he once was, but then again, that is true for everyone. I remember the days when Maxpax was an exciting 16-year-old. That sounds extremely wrong. When Maxpax was like 16 or 17 and he came up with these new build orders, and it was a fantastic time. It was a fantastic time. 1-gate proxies is what this guy freaking loved to do. Right now, a lot more standard, of course. Still has his own style. Is Clem here? Ooh, this is what would often be considered a risky opener, by the way. This is a low ground CC with a Reaper Hellion opener into double Marine. So Adept stuff can often do something here. Oh, he's actually going to finish it as well. Gonna see some split shots. Hell yeah, we're gonna see some split shots. Reaper goes down. SCV stays alive. I think this was actually not a great trade here. Also known as a bad trade. Adept goes down. You lose a little bit of damage output potentially on the incoming mine drop. So that is not great. This thing is still gonna shade back in. Hellion's now moving out. Really doesn't want to fight this Adept. Adept versus Hellion is a bad fight usually for the Hellion. Just gonna get absolutely blasted by the Adept. So we see it run away. Gonna get a 6 Marine, 1 mine drop. Clem is wasting a lot of time waiting for that last Marine, by the way. As Maxpax decides to go back in, knows the perfect timings, of course. It's like, hey, I believe that you're about to move out with all of your Marines and your mine drop. Guess what, buddy? I'm gonna shade in. See what you're gonna do about that. Is 2 workers enough to win this fight? The answer was no. And that managed to shade back home as well. Behind all of this we have a double gate into 4-gate. Single Stalker, I think somewhere. Oh, triple Stalker already out. Mine on the ramp. Let's see, can he get the hit? Yep, it's gonna get the hit there on one of these Stalkers. It's actually kind of unfortunate. Does need to warp in 2 extra of these bad boys. Let's see if this is gonna be good enough. Mine walked in from the low ground somehow. I'm not quite sure where that guy came from. But he was there. One more Stalker is gonna fall. Potentially one more worker is going to die at some point as well. Behind all of this, you see extra barracks coming in. Raven. Mine reburrows. Is actually going to have the ability to shoot one more time. We get another unburrow. I think this will just need to be a pickup at this point, to be honest. Yeah, there we go. Very neat pickup. Could maybe go back to the north. Nope, it's not gonna go there. Marines end up dying. Quite a bit of indirect damage here. A lot of mining time was lost. The most important thing to me here is the fact that Maxpax isn't across the map with a lot of units quite yet. He is still chasing a dream, really. He's chasing something that doesn't exist. Like, he wants to go across the map right now and ideally kill his opponent, but instead it's just going to be 4 Stalker harassment. There's a tank in the main base already. There's a tank on the low ground. It is going to be extremely tough here for Maxpax to really get anything done. We do need a minor SCV pool to make sure the tank doesn't just straight up die. 4 SCVs go down, as well as a Marine. This actually was a pretty decent haul. Like 4 SCVs against someone that opened up with 2 gas. It's a little bit more eco damage than Clem probably would have wanted. I heard that Clem actually wanted 0 eco damage, but that was unrealistic. Unrealistic expectations. And we don't do those here. How many Stalkers is this? 10? It's not enough. But depends on what you want. Of course. 10 Stalkers to kill a Marine is fine. 10 Stalkers to one-shot a tank. Not quite as great. I'm gonna go for 14 right now. Oh, look at this. This is a really neat maneuver. Missed the blink with 2 of his Stalkers. We're gonna get 2 big hits out of those tanks. There's a tank on the high ground as well. It's kind of an awkward area. It's somewhat undefended. Tanks probably cannot move there. Although I bet Clem wished he could move down here. Okay, he's gonna try. No, he's gonna go back up. It's really weird because if you set up over here, then you might lose it. However, if you don't set up shop on your bunkers, you might lose your bunkers at some point as well. There's no stim. Okay, the third tank now comes out, which is actually the fourth tank. Because one tank has gone down. You have some, I think some mine harass. Raven stayed at home, by the way, so now counter-attack with that. Worker count is even, which tends to be good for Terran. And the Stalker, ooh. Stalker count is very high as well, which might feel good, but also means that usually the infrastructure is going to be a bit delayed. So we see these 4 gateways. That is all that we have at this moment, 4 gateways. There's a forge coming in behind this as well. So I'm struggling to see Maxpax hold the incoming. Well, am I struggling to see that? He's going to need to do some work, at least, with these Stalkers. Okay, charge is not going to be done quite yet either. We're going to have an 8 marine drop that's going to be moving around. No vision here whatsoever for Maxpax. It's going to be a bit too late with the prism. One Stalker goes down, auto turret gets thrown in there too. Maybe a new depot on the way for Clem. I wonder where he's going to go. You think he's going to drop into the dead space here? Or like kind of in between and then run into the natural. This is not an uncommon move that we see out of Terran players. It's like they'll unload here, they just stim, run into the natural, see if they can get like 10 worker kills or so. Maxpax does have a recall available, and he instantly sends it as well. I mean, this drop is going to do absolutely nothing. I guess it pulls back a bunch of Stalkers, which is actually nice. Makes it easier to move across the map if you need to. One Stalker seemingly had gone down here. Prism still active as well. Charge hasn't finished up yet. I think Clem right now is regretting not moving across a bit faster. Because if he knew you could have been fighting against someone that did not have the charge upgrade, that would have obviously been great. Now going on the hunt here for this war prism. Colossus on the way behind this as these... this drop's actually going to get taken out. This is going to force Clem to be a little bit more defensive. Okay, both players realize they're nearby one another. Might need to drop a zealot or two, yeah. Keep the prism alive. Gonna keep the prism alive, it's something. All zealots do end up falling though, so there's -3 zealots. I think maybe a marine or two has died as well. So it's 300 minerals against 100 minerals. 1-1 upgrades. Thermal lands on the way here too. We now got a... Is that a sentry I see being warped in? Yes. Is that the first one? Yeah, no, it's the second one. As long as there's no ghost out and no decent Viking count. What the hell is Clem doing? Clem has had it. Clem has had it. He is just adding more and more tanks. He is not planning on dying this game. This is honestly a trend that I've seen out of Terran players quite a bit as of late, where they feel so comfortable in the late game if they get there that they would sell their mom to get into a late game. And here Clem is... This is the equivalent of selling your mom, to be honest. Like he's selling out his playstyle of aggression and trades it in for freaking 7 tanks. He's lost like 1 as well, so this theoretically is even 8 tanks. We could have imagined this being 8 tanks. Like, this is disgusting. He's just freaking sitting here behind the tanks. People always tell you that tanks are terrible. There's a freaking 7 shooting at you. They're not as terrible anymore, let me tell you. You die real freaking fast. Now we have a prism set up here on the right side. This is really the only thing that could ruin Clem's life. So he has a force of units that is just ready, waiting, patiently waiting for this to kick off. Bunker comes in, sensor tower on the way. What else do we have here? 3 more barracks. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Okay, 8 barracks coming in. That is pretty fast on all that extra infrastructure. As Maxpax is going to be setting up for a fight here. And this is interesting. Just the way that he does these. Now, we have 11 gateways. Like, we can kind of see the shape. We can see what this fight is going to look like. We're probably going to see a flank with 7 to 8 zealots. It's going to come from the north. And I think it's all going to start happening the moment this fort is moving in position. So we see now a fort is moving, units are moving over. Here comes the zealot flank. Bunker's going to get attacked. 1 tank will fall. At the same time we have an attack at the front. A 2nd tank will fall. Prism heading into the main. No, not feeling it. Maybe saw these marines. They have been stimmed. So I think there's been some back and forth here. I always find it a bit sad when the observer despite having the full information, is a little bit slower than both the players. There was action at 3 fronts, and I missed the action in the main base because the stim ran out. So something must have happened here, but these guys are playing such ridiculous speeds. Yeah, they're always ready for everything. Another Zealot run by comes in here. This is really the main story, I think. Although this push is also dealing a lot of damage. Hallucinated Archon helping out. Stalkers in the far back, blinked back. Not wanting to get attacked here by the tanks, I guess. Not sure how brilliant a call that was. 4 workers do end up going down. We have another Zealot warp in over here. Tank count has been pretty much reset down to 1. But Clem has his fort base up. He's building his Ghost. He has his Vikings on the way. 2 upgrades as well. And with three command centers on the way, I think we're inching, we're crawling to a late game, which is exactly what Clem wants. Gateway count for Maxpax is gonna go up to, is that 15? No, 14. 14 gateways. Okay, I dig that. I dig those vibes big time. Dark Shrine on the way with the Shadow Stride. Here comes the blink towards the north. The tank is gonna go down as well. Refinery will fall. This is an orbital. It's an awkward angle to defend. Also an awkward angle to attack into if you have this many Zealots though. Like if this was a Stalker Colossus army, this choke would be tough to hold. But right now this choke is actually helping Clem a crap ton. He's just holding that choke. Just making sure none of the Zealots can attack, or at least a very limited amount of Zealots can attack. +3 armor on the way. Double Colossus. And this is the phase in the game where I think the modern Protoss player struggles. And I don't know if they should. One thing that I've noticed, or one thing that everyone and their mom has noticed, is that Protoss players, they play often very low gas count. So right now we're working off of 6 gases. Really, this one isn't mining, so it's like 5 gas income, right? That makes it pretty tricky to transition into Tempest, as we have another fight over here at the Planetary. This is just going to get pushed back. I don't actually believe Maxpax can commit into this. I just don't buy it. Zealot count is too high. You're fighting against 9 Vikings. Like, you have no other splash in your Colossus. This is not possible. I feel like the endgame answer should almost never be 18 gateways. 18 gateways and triple robo. This often to me feels like a trick, a propaganda piece by Terrans. This is what they want exactly, because if you have the ability to reinforce into fights with 18 gateways, usually you're already winning very hard. Like sometimes it's good when you can do that. Like if your opponent is like 140 supply. And you basically have, you have max supply and you can warp in 18 more Zealots instantly, that's great. But a lot of the time, the thing that matters the most against Terran is the actual quality of the initial fight. And if you lose 40, 50 supply and your opponent loses 10 supply, like it doesn't matter if you can quickly reinforce another 50 supply. Like you're just trading away like freaking 5k resources, while your opponent is losing like 1.5k, and they can also reinforce with 8 barracks and 2 starports. Like just because they lost 10 supply doesn't really matter. So we're just gonna keep an eye here on the resource loss step from here on out. This is kind of our starting point, 15k or 14.7 to 12.3. Just gonna see how these numbers move, because that is usually how these games get decided on the quality of the fight. Like, if the game is very unstable and we have, like, prisms flying around and warpins in the main, look, I freaking love this, but here I always struggle a little bit to see how it's actually going to end up working. Vikings now moving forward. Stalkers trying to clear these Vikings. First fight, and we now have a 3k difference overall, so a small lean in favor of Clem. Not a whole lot, but a little bit. A little bit does matter. Viking count has been cleared a tiny tad. So Zealot attack comes in. Zealot reinforcement. This actually was an okay battle, I think, for Max. He did kill most of his opponent's Vikings. If he can get another big warp in, I'm kind of okay with how this went. I'm kind of okay with how this went. Yeah, the second fight was very close to being even, which is not something we see frequently. The higher the ghost count is going to get and the better the Viking count, the harder it will be for Maxpax here to take these good fights. So this fight is going to be a complete wash right now. Liberators are starting to siege up as well. That is the one disruptor shot that we have. Another Zealot will go down for free. We have a double Zealot run by here. Could maybe go for the sensor tower. Would need to be rebuilt then. Maxpax is mining from double bases as well. Or, well, he's not mining from this one yet, but he should. DT's coming in. So he's really doubling down on Chaos as his main engine to winning. Like, Chaos is going to be his win condition. If there's a lot of Chaos, he will do well. If there's no Chaos, if Clem can keep a stable game, which we saw him try to create the entire time, like these 7-8 tanks early on, into now just this really defensive playstyle. Like, look at what Clem has been... Like, the last time Clem saw, this is what it looked like. This is like bringing your grandma back to the street where she grew up on, you know? And seeing freaking flying cars everywhere. Like, holy cow. What has happened? Yeah, grandma. Time moves on. That's how it works. And time moves on in this game as well. He's gonna scan, see this base. It's pretty frustrating. I think it might light a bit of a fire under Clem. Say, hey, I maybe want to clear at least one of the side bases. We have a DT attack over here on the left side. Liberators are there. Not good enough, though, and that base falls. This is a really big deal. This is the first time in maybe 4 or 5 minutes where Maxpax has managed to actually deal some direct damage to his opponent. Vikings now moving forward. This fight is not looking great. Look at the difference already in resources lost. We were looking at 3k before. We're looking at a 6k difference right now. Purification Nova did not manage to connect with those ghosts, but even if it did, it doesn't matter because the ghost wouldn't fall. This is what I'm talking about. You see? 6 supply goes down on the side of the Terran, and 50 supply goes down on the side of the Protoss. At the same time, though, these DTs are putting in some serious work. Clem, seemingly, with some all-in-like maneuvers. Maxpax decides to base trade, which I really like. Because right now, every unit that he clears is just coming back. So he's not only taking bad fights, it also doesn't matter. He really should clear that. There we go. He's gonna kill that. This orbital's gonna go down as well. DT's now slicing and dicing. Maybe we can have an attack over here on this orbital. I thought this was a planetary. I guess the planetary went down earlier. This orbital's also gonna fall. Serious economic damage is being dealt here. And the style that Maxpax is playing is really cute. Rather than saying, hey, I'm going to deal with your army head on. I'm going to pretend like your army doesn't exist. I'm just going to run away from it. This is the oldest maneuver. This is what they teach you in Self-Defense 101. Maxpax recently took that. Self-Defense 101. It's like you kick him in the nuts and you run away. That is what you're supposed to be doing. And that was a big kick in the nuts, let me tell you. Clem is not going to be sitting, you know, comfortably for a couple of days after this. Woo! Misses the DTs. That is very un-Clem-like. I think he saw it in the end, but he... Oh, there was a Zealot there. That's why he went back. And these DTs even got the recall. I think Clem was not doing that very well. But he ended up clearing it anyway, so it doesn't matter. We care about the result here, not about the intention. Okay. Oof. Nice purification over there, killing his own Zealot. Love to see it. That is the disruptors helping Maxpax out, creating a better army. And a better world as well at the same time. We have some DTs now attacking into this orbital. A couple of purification Novas coming in. It seems like they're kind of trying to zone out. We have a bunch of Vikings over here on the right side. I think Clem is fighting ghosts right now. Like, he's imagining a DT attack here, and that's why these Vikings are landed. But there's not enough money really for Maxpax to get another 10 DT warping going. It's just not there. It doesn't exist, let me tell you. It does not exist. Do have a big split army. 44 army supply right now. Don't forget, there's still like 30 supply of Clems and like freaking Vikings in the back. Like, that's not a great look. Colossus are being built, so these Vikings are going to become a little bit more useful in a bit. Liberators trying to siege up. And these Libs are going to do just fine. Absolutely going to be just fine. Liberator count is at 4. 3 of them over here on the left side, 1 with the main army. I think it doesn't matter so much whether you have Liberators or not. Like, defensively, they're so freaking strong. That's probably why you want them. You're gonna get a good scan. That's nice. Orbital command count is at 3. 2 more command centers are here, though. At least one of them is morphing into an orbital. I'm not sure what the other one's doing. Also into an orbital. The game continues on. 2 more SCVs going down. Resource lost. What did we start at? What was it? Like 12k to 15k or 9k to 12k? It was a 3k difference. Oh, we're going to have another fight here. A bit further north. Vikings will take care of these Colossus. This was actually an okay battle, I think, for Maxpax. The first one in a while. Ghost count also is only at 7 right now. Ideally, that would be at 35. Ideally, the entire army would be Ghost. Sadly, that's not possible for Clem. It's a little bit overstimmed. Needs to be careful. Oh yeah, so many medevacs though. Can a man really be overstimmed with 12 medevacs? I don't think so. Although it does feel like his core army is getting a little bit smaller because of his insane amount of air units. And I think that worries me at least a little bit. Still have a setup over here, Liberator. Doing God's work. But yeah, what did I say? A 3k difference initially. We're now talking a 12k difference in resources. This is no problem, by the way, if the entire map gets mined out and Maxpax ends up taking this base over his opponent, right? Then it's fine. Look, I'm not complaining if that happens, but I just don't really see Clem or Maxpax mining out this base entirely. Like, he hasn't even started with the gas quite yet. He's thinking about it, but he hasn't started it. And Clem is just kind of happily just continuing on his path of destruction. Income is very similar, despite Clem having half of his opponent's workers. Here we get a big blink in forward. Liberator will go down. Orbital's gonna perhaps get targeted too. A bunch of these SCVs going out. This was really neat control out of Maxpax. Like, Maxpax is doing this so well. He's finding angles absolutely everywhere, but yeah, it doesn't matter what angle you take. It's the same as with pictures, you know? You can only improve so much, you know? You do your little duck face and a nice high angle. If you're an ugly prick, you're gonna remain an ugly prick. And it's the same with this army. This army is this army is not gonna win, no matter the angle. You need to somehow deal enough damage to the economy and then shave off units bit by bit. This is another thing that people often do wrong. Is where they'll... Look at the eco right now. It's like 40 workers to 72, right? Imagine that Maxpax kills 2 more orbitals and 20 more workers. Even then, you still cannot take one big engagement. You need to kill 4 Marauders here, 3 Ghosts there, 2 Vikings here. And then eventually your opponent cannot replace those units anymore. And Maxpax is actually doing a phenomenal job at that. Like, he is never fully committing into a battle. He's always ready to run. Okay? Kick in the nuts and he's running. He hasn't had a successful kick in the nuts in a while, though. Or he hasn't dealt one, I should say. He has plenty of kicks in the nuts. Luckily, Maxpax has balls of steel, so it's all good. 13k resource loss difference right now. Stalkers blink back. You have 5 Colossus, which is really a phenomenal number. Let's gonna do some Viking baiting over here. And I actually kind of like that. So Vikings are the one unit that you can somewhat trade against, because they're just there and they're not impossible to kill, you know? Like, there's ways to deal with them. Look at this. Half the army is on the left side. Like, there is such a significant number of units that is just idling over here trying to defend this base. Like, Clem is not playing to kill his opponent. Like, Clem is actually just playing to hold the bases that he currently has and eventually mine out the map. So we're gonna get a big fight over here. And now Clem decides to move out at the same time as well on the left. So there goes my theory out of the window. This base is gonna fall. Let's go back to the main fight. So we see 6 Vikings still alive. The 6 Vikings versus 5 Colossus is almost starting to scare me, but the Marauder count is so phenomenal that it probably doesn't. Maxpax now being reset back to a base count that... Honestly, he was at like 11 minutes into the game, because the bottom left side is also gonna fall. Orbital does go down, though. I think Maxpax probably wants to pounce on this army, while not everything is here quite yet. Because if this entire army comes back together, it is not gonna be easy, let me tell you. These bases are very vulnerable for like 2-3 Zealots just going there. Even like 2 DTs, like showing up and starting to smack some stuff. That would be sick. We're gonna get a big freaking flank as well. Nice control on those Colossi. The Viking count might just be high enough though to push him back. Disruptors with the Purification of us doing okay. As this fight is going extremely far, like leaning extremely far Clem's way. Viking still alive. Ghost now cloaking as well. Marauders in the back. Medevac count still at 13. We do have the Caduceus reactor as well. So even if you only have like 8 medevacs here or 9, you're going to be just fine. But Clem, dude, he's healing so much. He's a real healer. One of the craziest healers. Maxpax is trying to get a good fight. I don't think he's going to get it. Like at this point, Maxpax isn't outmining his opponent. At this point, Maxpax doesn't have higher supply. So he has all of the bad stuff from before and none of the advantages that he had before. The advantages were really just more money in the bank and more money making it. But what is the point? Oh, you're stuck with such a garbage to your army. Like without Tempest, without carriers, it's so hard to take good trades against this force. This army is really overstimmed, by the way. I think Clem's been getting a little bit overexcited. The Vikings show up to the right side and the Liberators are there as well. I mean, this is going to be a warm welcome. Look at the game sense of Clem. The complete mirroring of the movement. You hide the names. You probably think this guy's map hacking. Actually, if you hide the names, you'd figure out this was Clem pretty quickly because that micro is a little bit too good. You'd still, you know, flame him for being a hacker though. Just to protect your own ego. Oh, here come the Vikings. Vikings from the right. Yeah, man, fighting up a ramp can be quite tough, but you know what's even more tough is fighting against 30 Marauders with Stalker Colossus as GG gets called. Clem's going to win the game. Resource lost in the end, 63,000 to 44. Yeah, that is, I mean, it is painful. That's a nasty ratio as well. That is what, like 3-2 almost. Ay. Yeah, it's going to be it for me today. I hope you all did enjoy this. If you did, don't forget to smack like and tell your friends. Bye-bye.